Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the Reldrick Geo channel. Today we're going to be watching a video on how China got caught cheating at the Olympics. New doping scandal by Laowhy86. This is recommended to me by Video Quality, who says, "What's your thoughts on this? I think you can make a reacting to this in true China fashion. They're playing the victim card now, and they were notorious for this even in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics." Now, I think I remember the 2020 Tokyo Olympics debacle. It was like something to do with like steroids in their swimmers, and they blamed it on like eating out at like a restaurant or something. I don't quite remember, but yeah, maybe this video will touch up on it. I'm not sure. Laowhy86 is pretty good about giving like backstory, a little bit of more of an insight. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and watch this video. It's a shorter video. It's around 9-10 minutes long. So yeah, should be fun. Should be a fun little video. We'll watch it and we will read some comments afterwards. Maybe take a look at a few articles if I can find any. So yeah, link to this video will be directly in the description below, as with all the videos I react to. They're always linked in the description of said video of reaction. So yeah, make sure to check that out, and let's get into it.
哎，中国队吗？哦，你们接受采访吗？
我们只接受央视。
只接受央视的采访。哦，那其他媒体为什么他们怎么说的呢？
对
哦，
对对对。
哦，OK，好，谢谢啊。
The Olympics has threatened to kick the USA out of the Olympic bid for 2034 in Salt Lake City, and
Olympics officials try to crush U.S. pros of China doping threatened Salt Lake Games. What? Wait, what did he say?
has threatened to kick the USA out of the Olympic bid for 2034 in Salt Lake City. And take a guess why? China. And hamburgers. I'm not joking. This video will be a sobering, cold, disturbing, and ridiculous look at how much power China wields in international organizations and how the future of the world is at stake.
The future of the world is at stake. Okay, now listen, I understand a lot of people think very highly of the Olympics, but let's be honest here. Who actually watches the Olympics? Like, throughout my entire life, I don't think I've ever sat and watched the Olympics. I don't think I know anybody that's ever sat and watched through the Olympics. It's not, I don't know, it's not quite what it used to be, I guess. I don't know. It's just, eh, 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 eh.
No joke.
No joke.
According
Got
to
it.
the New York Times, 2 Chinese swimmers, including one scheduled to compete at the Paris Olympics, failed a doping test in 2022, but was cleared by Chinese authorities. After a lengthy investigation into the previously undisclosed incident, the Chinese authorities were unable to determine exactly how the swimmers ingested the drug, a powerful anabolic steroid, by the way, but concluded that they had most likely done so unwittingly when they ate hamburgers at a restaurant in Beijing.
Okay.
So,
these are swimmers got steroids from hamburgers at Beijing. If that was true, every bodybuilder known to man would be eating hamburgers from Beijing. You know just how insane that sounds? Getting steroids from cooked food, even? Okay.
hold up. Some swimmers competing for an authoritarian regime who literally run secretive athletic boot camps for children until competition age.
This is true, by the way. This is true. They specifically have they take kids and they train them basically from birth just to be good at the Olympics.
我觉得我最大的牺牲就是童年的快乐。
Who desperately needs the world to ignore its horrific human rights record and abuses of freedom. The very country that absolutely insists on having the most medals no matter what. You're telling me that country was giving steroids to its athletes?
Allegedly, by the way. I think you always got to say allegedly. And even if you think it's true, you always have to say allegedly, right?
Nah, no way! Wait,
23 Chinese swimmers tested positive before Tokyo Games? Okay.
Are you telling me that this has happened before? And that 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive as well? 23 Chinese Olympic swimmers, half of their entire team, that competed in the Tokyo Olympics tested positive for a powerful performance-enhancing drug shortly before the games were set to begin back in 2022. Now, WADA, the International Anti-Doping Agency, tied to the International Olympic Committee, seemed to cover it.
Isn't the International Olympic Committee the IOC, is that International Olympic Committee? Yeah, the IOC. Isn't the IOC kind of like sketch anyways, allegedly? I'm pretty sure I've read a lot of articles about them being not the greatest organization.
It up. They refused to release any of the names or even the fact that there had been positive results with these athletes and allowed the athletes to compete, many of whom went on to win medals, including 3 gold medals. Wow. They accepted the CCP's investigation, the Chinese government, and are now blaming hamburgers in Beijing. Wait, so you're telling me that it was because of hamburgers? Guys, for real, I'm not kidding. China is saying that after its own probe, the athletes ate hamburgers in Beijing, and they must have had steroids in them. Also, let's change the new slang name for steroids, not to someone who's juicing or using gear. It should be called eating burgers in Beijing. Seriously, how bad is the beef in China that people are testing positive for anabolic steroids? The cows must look like this. Fun fact, I lived in China for 10 years, and most of what China eats and what they call beef is actually water buffalo. Data brokers, probably one of the most...
Data brokers? Okay, all right. I'll let the ads play. I always let their sponsor bit and ads play in videos that I watch.
Vile jobs out there. Think about this. A data broker goes out, finds your information, and then sells it on the market to different companies so you can get more junk mail.
Why were they all wearing masks? That seems so odd. Doesn't it? Like, I get junk mail all the time. I mean, I've been on the internet since, the early 2000s. So, of course, I have, like, old emails that have been compromised based off of, so many different, high, I was going to say high-end organizations, but like any company that you sign up for could potentially have like data leaks and stuff. And there's been a lot of large-scale ones that have leaked in the past. Yeah, it's just a very common thing, unfortunately. But yeah, they're all wearing masks. I guess this is during COVID times that this video was taken. I don't know. This person doesn't even look like it's covering their nose.
More junk mail, spam emails, and a lot worse. But what if I told you there was a company called Incogni that can make all that stuff go away? Incogni is the sponsor of this video, and it's an awesome thing to use.
Wow.
What kind of information do these data brokers have? Well, maybe your IP address, your relatives, your aliases, your social security number, your employment, your shopping history. Incogni goes out there, finds these data brokers, tells them, you better stop using this person's information, and gets rid of the problem. It's easy to track which data brokers have been contacted, and you will notice less junk mail and less spam after you use Incogni. I've been super impressed myself. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Go to incogni.com/cmilk and use the code CMILK to get 60% off an annual...
That's a pretty go. 60% off an annual. Okay.
Incogni plan. Take your personal data off the market today. Go to incogni.com/cmilk and use the code CMILK for 60% off an annual plan. Thanks.
Interesting.
Legendary swimmer Michael Phelps even spoke out, right now, people are just getting away with everything. How is that possible? It makes no sense.
Oh, you know what? Hold on, never mind. I was gonna say, isn't Michael Phelps one of the ones that got caught using steroids? But no, that was Mike. The other was his name Michael, the bicyclist, the cyclist. What was his name? I don't know. I don't even remember, dude. Wow, such a long time ago. I'm gonna look it up. Legendary Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps told a U.S. panel Tuesday night that the Olympic Games may unravel if sports doping is allowed to continue. If we continue to let this slide any further, the Olympic Games might not even be there. The session followed revelations in recent weeks that top Chinese swimmers scheduled to compete next month at the Paris Summer Olympics tested positive repeatedly for performance-enhancing drugs. The World Anti-Doping Agency, known as WADA, acknowledged some elite Chinese swimmers tested positive for two banned substances over a period of years. The results of these tests were kept secret at the athletes were allowed to compete in the 2021 at the Tokyo Summer Games. According to U.S. officials, even 11 of those Chinese athletes have now qualified for China's national team and are expected to again swim head-to-head against U.S. athletes in Paris. Well, not just U.S. athletes, all athletes. But I guess this is the U.S. officials speaking, so they got to make it relevant to U.S. Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympic athlete ever, with 28 medals, including 23 gold, retired after swimming in the 2016. I didn't know he's been retired since 2016. Okay. He told lawmakers sweeping reforms are needed to the international system that's meant to catch cheaters. Right now, people are just getting away with everything. How is that possible? It makes no sense. I'm one who believes if someone does test positive, I'd like to see a lifetime ban. Interesting. Officials with WADA have denied any wrongdoing and say the Chinese athletes were accidentally contaminated with banned substance. The doping officials haven't provided a clear explanation how that happened repeatedly. Critics also say WADA officials violated international sports rules by not disclosing the positive test results, even if the exposures were accidental. U.S. lawmakers say WADA representatives were invited to testify at yesterday's hearing and declined. Russia and China have been too big to fail in WADA's eyes, and they get a different set of rules than the rest of the world does, unfortunately. Okay, hold on. So, do you want to get rid of this doping scandal? You got to do a games where doping is allowed. And I think there is a company that's trying to get that. So if you make another Olympic style event where the athletes can just go and use performance enhancing, drugs and doping and whatnot, then you'd get these people that are, doing this, secretly in the Olympics moved over there. I don't know, maybe. What is that called? Okay, so yeah, there is a thing called the Enhanced Games. It's planned international sport where the athletes will not be subject to drug testing. It's headed by Aaron D'Souza, an Australian businessman. The event is meant to take place in 2025. So, there is such a thing called the Enhanced Games. So, we'll see.
I'm one who believes if someone does test positive, I'd like to see a lifetime ban. Anyway, are you telling me that the country that basically has sweatshop boot camps to craft and mold the perfect human beings, like North Korea does, you're telling me that this country doesn't feed its athletes some massively regulated nutrient paste?
Baby food composite. Oh, how appetizing.
You think that the Chinese Olympic team lets its Olympians throw down whippers at Dongle King? Listen, I spoke to someone familiar with the steroid in question. They told me that not only would the burger have tasted absolutely terrible because the steroid in question has a very specific, distinctive taste, but the threshold of what would have to be in the meat to show up in a drug test, it doesn't even make sense. Quote, I've never heard of an athlete or anyone who has ever accidentally tested positive for D-Bol. Congress, the FBI, Department of Justice, all these groups were unsatisfied with the International Olympic Committee or the CCP, Chinese government's handling of the incident, so they started their own investigation. And this is where it gets spooky. The 2034 Winter Olympics was very recently awarded to Salt Lake City. I mean, this just happened. But on one condition. In what, to me, looks like a brazen act of blackmail, the World Anti-Doping Agency and the International Olympic Committee have threatened to pull Salt Lake's right to host if U.S. authorities continue their investigation. In fact, they've even moved a recent event from the U.S. to Canada in order to avoid any scrutiny from U.S. authorities. In a statement, Travis Tygart, the head of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, blasted the International Olympic Committee for linking the China scandal to Salt Lake City's bid. It's shocking to see the International Olympic Committee itself stooping to threats in an apparent effort to silence those seeking answers, he said. It seems more apparent than ever that the World Anti-Doping Agency violated the rules and needs accountability and reform. China and Russia have been too big to fail in the World Anti-Doping Agency's eyes. And they get a different set of rules than the rest of the world does, unfortunately, he said. Now, I want to ask you, the audience, should we be surprised?
No.
No, absolutely not. China won't.
I mean, it's a common thing, unfortunately. It really is. Not even just the past one. It's a common thing for the last few decades, honestly.
Even let its athletes talk to the media unless it's Chinese state media right now. Right now, like seriously, at the Paris Olympics.
哎，中国队吗？哦，你们接受采访吗？
我们只接受央视。
只接受央视的采访。哦，那其他媒体为什么他们怎么说的呢？
对
哦，不
对
同意的。哦，OK，好，谢谢啊。
What is this, North Korea? You know, North Korea, the country that closes the shades on the bus so the athletes don't see how much better the rest of the world is than their own country when they go internationally to compete. It's basically the same thing. China's not even letting their athletes talk to different media groups around the world. I mean, come on. China literally said a little girl was too ugly to sing the national anthem publicly and made her do it backstage while a girl that they deemed to be cuter took the stage.
I remember this. Oh, that's so heartbreaking. I remember that happening.
I mean, this is the country that evicts 1.5 million people from their homes for the Olympics because they are so obsessed with the soft power projection of China's power around the world. This is the country that abandons and demonizes its own athletes after they're injured. This is the country that takes its Olympians after decades of grueling training and lets them become homeless beggars after they serve their purpose for propaganda. The Olympics is supposed to be a paragon of fairness, equality, and country-to-country competition. It's a uniting force in the world. Yet here we have China, one of the worst abusers of not only human rights, but one of the worst abusers of rules and regulations, ready and willing to bend, mold, threaten, and shape the rule of the world. But guys, this isn't just sports. This is China changing the rules across the board. This is China dictating what happens in regards to environmental law.
China emissions exceed all developed nations combined.
Yeah, opens up more.
China responsible for 95% of new coal power construction in 2023, report says.
Coal plants and increases CO2 production while asking the other countries around the world to reduce theirs. This is China covering up what happened during COVID and then
China spins tail that the U.S. Army started the coronavirus epidemic. Okay. After criticizing American officials for politicizing the pandemic, Chinese officials and news outlets have floated unfounded theories the United States was the source of the virus.
Blaming the U.S. for the outbreak.
Okay.
This is China opening up police stations in other...
Two arrested for operating illegal overseas police stations of the Chinese government. Dude, they do this. They have this, like, they have set up, like, these weird police stations all over the place. There's even some in the U.S. There was, before they were shut down, like, there was some in, like, San Francisco. There was some in, like, New York City. There's a ton all over the place. Lots of, like, Chinese police stations in Africa and just all over the world.
Countries to harass, stalk, and capture people who don't like the Chinese government. This is China bending the world to its very whim and changing the institutions that run the rules and order around the globe. This is the Chinese government just being a dick, and you, as citizens of the world, are supposed to let them get away with it. If you guys like this episode, definitely go check out The China Show. Every single Friday is our live broadcast where we cover everything that's happening in China, from the viral news to the serious to the funny and everything in between. It's the only place you need to be to catch up on your China news. So make sure you're subscribed to that channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Okay. Well, there we go. We are investigating ourselves. Yep, we are clear. Also, it's your fault. This is why I stopped watching the Olympics. It's all meaningless crap. None of the workers at the restaurant tested positive, though. Only the athletes. At some point, there should be a petition to force the IOC to kick China Olympic Committee out, like they did with Russia. The USA does not need the Olympics to tell them to pound sand. Remember the Chinese dictator Mao? Here's what he did. He renounced ancient Chinese culture, including Confucius and Buddhism, which value kindness and tolerance. He eliminated all intellectuals, landowners, and rich and famous people. He demanded the youths to condemn their parents and neighbors publicly, usually in front of a crowd. What he had left were uneducated laborers, poor peasants, and mean youths. Those are the ancestors of the current mainland Chinese today. I didn't think it was possible. Here we are, yet another reason not to waste any time with the Olympics. Just recently, Chinese swimming star Zhang Yufi vehemently denies cheating amid Olympic doping scandal. My bias is showing here, but when I read, she said that Chinese athletes have been tested for banned substance 20 to 30 times over the past 2 months to ensure that they're clean for the Olympics. I interpret that as testing to make sure all the substances are out of their systems in time. Shame on CCP. I once heard a saying, if you cheat, you're only cheating yourself out of actual success. Fuck the Olympics. The U.S. should continue the investigation. I think the USA and other allies should press the investigation and then drag the IOC on the world stage if they refuse to answer for these doping problems. Don't let them keep it under wraps or behind closed curtains. Megaphone this to the world. The Olympics is supposed to be the pinnacle of human body achievements, not a complete competition for dope heads. These international organizations are beyond a joke now. Nobody's surprised. The Olympics went down the drain. Breaking news, year 2032, China caught not cheating. It will be the same exact font as December 7 to 8, 1941 headlines. I have no idea what that means. CCP continuously commits crippling, contagious consequences, countering citizens, civilizations, and competition. This guy... he really wrote every sentence or every word with a C. That's crazy. I love that. Okay. That's embarrassing. Honestly, is anyone surprised by this? It was expected, not what will be undone. Okay. I don't know if there'd be anything under the new that would be, I don't know, any different than what we've read so far since the video is so new. The authoritarian games, they have it for the insight of ruining it. Western countries can start their own games again. What's also crazy is that there are 2 China teams in the Olympics right now, China and Hong Kong. It's crazy how bad China wants medals. Well, Hong Kong just needs to be its own country. Let my city hold the Olympics, China. Come on. I guess this guy's from Salt Lake City. What bid? I thought LA got it because there were no contenders. I don't know. I don't follow the Olympics. So the whole world has been under the impact of the U.S. as ever before. The whole world has been under the impact of U.S. as ever before. Don't know what that means by that. The Duex Mankind Divided music was a great choice for this vid. Was that the game music that was used? Okay. The Deus Ex. I said Duex. The Deus Ex games were really fun. I need to replay them. Because Western media said so, it must be true. God knows this shit talking Guaylo is just like making fun of him for being white. Don't have the balls to post the official reports like every other accusation against China. Some former athletes and medalists from the countries you know already admitted they had ever doped to break record in competition, but it's interesting that these national teams have been tested for far less than Chinese teams for the Olympics. That's our freaking fairness. Screw the Olympics. What the fuck do we care what China thinks? They're no longer a world-class market. They're broke. They're not quite broke yet. China cheating? Is there any other way? Question mark, question mark. USA would win a hamburger eating gold, to be fair, and eating anything else. I'd be down to enter an eating competition. Now, here's the thing. Speed eating, probably wouldn't be good at, but eating large amounts of food in one sitting, yeah, I could do that. Sign me up, USA. Let's get her done. Eating competition. Let's go. Cancel the Olympics. You sure it's not the U.S. athletes doping? I think all the athletes are doping, to be honest with you. I think they're all secretly doping. And that's why you need that enhanced games. The enhanced games will get all the athletes that are doping to move over there. If from Laowhy86 must be a BS. Who is surprised, honestly? What else is new? They still cheat in fake, despicable governments. And your government doesn't? Oh no, it does. As all our governments do. Okay. Alright. Okay. Were they on steroids as a he, him? She, her? Or hey, them? I mean, it's all on the table now, Mac. I'm confused. This could be the death of the Olympic Games. Like I said, who watches the Olympics, honestly? It's like on in the backgrounds at, I'm assuming, like airports. That's the only place where you could watch the Olympics, really. All right. Take care, everybody. I'm leaving. Remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Go check out Laowhy86. And, yeah. Goodbye.